Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. During the declared emergency in the City of Toronto, Committee of Adjustment, virtual public hearings are being conducted by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform, and streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel. These measures are necessary to comply with physical distancing requirements and in-person attendance limitations. This will be a virtual public hearing, and participants who have registered in advance will be able to make their presentations to the committee using WebEx, an online event that is being moderated by city staff. Anyone wishing to view the hearing may do so by watching it on YouTube. Participants who have registered in advance will be connecting either by their computer, a phone or tablet app, or by telephone. All participants are automatically muted on entry. When your item is called, each participant will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. Only the committee members are participating by video. Any registered participants will be participating by audio only. We ask that you also mute your devices until you are called on to speak. For all those who are waiting online, please ensure that you've called in with a phone number that you were originally registered with. If you call in with a different number, you will not be able to speak on that item. To ensure audio clarity, I suggest that you do not use the speakerphone function on your telephones. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto was covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. My name is Alan Smithies, and I will chair today's meeting. Joining me on the panel today are Ron Hunt, Asif Khan, Nadini Sankar Peralta, and Paul Kidd. City staff are also present: Daniel Antonacci, Amir Nissan, and Adam Wills. The Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning bylaw that apply to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to sever property to create new lots. Anyone attending today who wants to receive a copy of the committee's decision must submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address because Committee of Adjustment and the TLAB will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the committee's decision, it may be appealed to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Appeal instructions are described at the bottom of the committee's decision. The hearing procedure is as follows. I will call each item in the order listed on the agenda. Where an application is uncontested, the agent or applicant will proceed with their presentation if desired. If the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak on that item. The committee may ask questions and/or take the matter into the committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant or agent, is given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching the 5-minute limit. When addressing the committee, please state clearly your name and address. Please remember to confine your remarks to the matters described in the application. The applicant or agent proceeds first and will make their presentation to the committee. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposals at the hearing today. To ensure that a revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes, the committee may decide to defer the application if it has been substantially revised. And individuals either in support or opposed to the application are invited to speak. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant or agent has an opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the previous speakers. This marks the end of discussion on the item. The application is then taken into committee for a decision. Are there any committee members here this afternoon who have a conflict of interest they'd like to declare? No? Okay, thank you. We have a request for a deferral, and that relates to item number 36, 261 Calvington. Let me just go to that item. And I have the agent is Alina Rodriguez. Are you there, madam?
Yes. Good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Yes, hello, thank you. I understand that you'd like to request a deferral on this application?
That's right.
And the reasons for the deferral?
The owner decided that he would want to build the garage close or beside the house for easy access to the house rather than at the very back of the property.
Okay, I understand, madam, that I don't know if you've had the opportunity, that there was a report from Transportation Services dated the 16th of September, and it was recommending reducing the proposed Fourth Bridge Crescent driveway to 6 meters for that portion of the driveway situated within the public road allowance. I just wanted to ask if you've had the opportunity to read that report.
Yes, we did see the report.
Okay, so you're aware of it. Now, are you,
Yes.
so it's, again, can you just restate the purpose of your deferral?
Yeah. The owner is requesting a deferral so that he could make new plans to be reviewed again by the zoning examiner. And the new layout would actually be a garage that would be close to the house or beside the house for easy access to the house and to the garage, especially in the winter time.
Okay, thank you, madam. We have one other speaker here, so I just have to get their views on the deferral. Is there any questions of does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next deputant on our list. I have a Frank Minetti. Are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. The agent is requesting a deferral. They'd like to redo their application. Do you have an objection to the deferral?
No, none whatsoever.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on the deferral request, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to put forward a motion to defer the application. Sine die to allow the applicant to revise his application.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application has been deferred to the next available meeting so that you can revise your application.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, madam.
Have a nice weekend.
We'll go back to the first item we have on our list, which is item number 23, which is 210 Burnett Avenue. I have just a moment. I have one person registered to speak. That is David Lee. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, hi, my name is David Lee. I'm the partner at Care the Architects at 113 Miranda Avenue, Toronto, Ontario.
Okay, thank you, sir. Just wanted to ask, I noted going through your file, there's a couple of city reports on listed there. We have one from city planning dated the 15th of September. They appear to have no objection, provided that the proposal is constructed substantially in accordance with the site plan drawing submitted to the Committee of Adjustment, included as attachment number 1 to their report. There's a Transportation Services report dated the 16th of September, which indicated they had no objections to your application, subject to some conditions relating to that the curb cut has to be to the satisfaction of Transportation Services. It has to be, I guess you have to keep some clearances away from a bell box, and there's a bell box that has to be relocated. That's my understanding. and a traffic signal pole that looks like has to be relocated as well. I just want to ask, sir, if you've had the opportunity to review both those reports?
Mr. Chairman, I did review it. I've actually only seen it yesterday, but since that time, I've actually spoken to Godly Abraham, who's the Transportation Services Supervisor, because we do have an issue with items 3 and 4. We're working with transportation, and we can't meet those dimensional requirements that they requested.
Hang on just a second, sir.
because,
Hang on. When you say conditions 3 and 4, what conditions are you referring to?
Oh, I'm referring to the condition of the location of the bell box and traffic sign
Okay.
and the minimum offsets that they require.
Okay,
There's a requirement to offset these boxes 0.5 meters from the edge of sidewalk to the inner edge of curb, as well as to maintain a minimum separation distance of 1 meter from the edge of proposed driveway to the edge of the bell box and traffic sign pole. So and these services have been moved already to with us, and they requested that when we make the revisions at the building permit stage, they will recognize and approve accordingly.
okay, thank you. So you're working on that with transportation services. That's good. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. I mean, I'll just go back to your application here. I think it's pretty clear what you're asking for. It's just an issue of the driveway width. We have no other persons registered to speak on the item. Is there anything that you'd like to advise the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
I have nothing further aside from the transportation issues. We're working with the transportation services.
Okay, thank you very much. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I'm still confused by what the agent has said about the transportation conditions because, you know, I wanted to ask are you expecting that we eliminate conditions 3 and 4 of the transportation report? Because if that is the position, I'm not willing to do that. But if you're saying you will continue working with transportation on this, that's one thing. Or if you'd like to have this deferred until that is taken care of, I would be open to that as well. But I just wanted to hear from you because it sounded to me that you were saying you can add the conditions, but just not 3 and 4. And I'm not in a position to say that I will eliminate anything that transportation has documented for us to follow.
I understand. I contacted transportation to ask if I should be deferring this issue because of the same concerns that you had raised. They are willing to strike 3 and 4 out. So if we have to go through the deferral process in order for that to happen, we're open to that as well.
Okay, so but you have
As
to.
it stands, yeah, I would I will not be striking 3 and 4 if I were to make a decision on this. Transportation would have already had to have provided me personally with, or the committee with that, and I don't see that here on my file. I do note you have great letters of support and all of that stuff, but it's just not something that I'm willing to do at this time until transport does that. So it would be up to you and through you, Mr. Chair, but that's just my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. You've heard Ms. Sankar's comments, sir. Do you want to defer your application to sort this out with transportation services?
Absolutely. Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. So you're asking for a deferral. We have a motion for a deferral to deal with this issue with transportation services. Can I have someone to put a motion forward to that
Okay,
effect?
I can
Ms.
make that
Sankar?
motion, a motion to defer, sir.
Thank you.
This
Someone to second
application.
Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your application's been deferred to the next available meeting so that you can discuss the driveway issues and utility issues with transportation services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We're now on item number 24. And I have one person registered to speak. That's a Christine Deng. Are you there?
Yes. Hi, my name is Christine Dan. and my address is 1100 Golden Baker Road.
Yes, hello, madam. Can I get your full name and address again, please?
Oh, my name is Christine Dan, and my address is 1100 Golden Baker Road.
Okay, thank you, madam. I have, going through your file, I note that we have only one condition from staff, and that's from urban forestry. Just wanted to ask, it's pretty clear what you're asking for in the 5 variances we have before us. Is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
No, I don't have anything to add this time.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Although there are no staff recommendations, it's a minor variance, I would like to move that this application be approved.
And that would be subject to urban forestry, Mr. Khan?
Yes, sir. Thank you for reminding. Yes,
Yes, thank
subject
you.
to forest.
Someone to second Mr. Khan's motion. Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries. Madam, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Item number 25, 104 Lord Seaton Road. I have one person registered to speak. That's a Karen Capetti. Are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Yes, hello, madam.
I'm here also with my husband.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
My name is Karen Copetti, and my husband is Peter Copetti. We reside at 104 Lord Seaton Road in North York.
Okay, thank you. Madam, I've been going through your file. I note that we have a couple of staff reports on contained therein. We have a report from Transportation Services dated the 16th of September. They have no objections to your proposed driveway width. But we also have a planning report dated the 16th of September, and they're recommending that your application be refused. And I just wanted to ask, have you had the opportunity to review those reports?
I did not receive that report, I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I just wanted to ask, there's a report from, as I said, the one from City Planning recommending refusing your application. And you haven't read the report, so I'll just paraphrase summarize what they said. City planning staff are of the opinion that widening the driveway to accommodate an additional parking space in the front yard does not meet the general intent of the zoning bylaw to reduce hardscaping in the front yard, to provide an attractive streetscape, and limit both front yard parking and additional curb cuts. That's conflicts with Transportation Services, who has no objections to your application because the driveway within the public road allowance doesn't exceed city policy with respect to the right-of-way. I just wanted to ask, madam, would you like to defer in light of City Planning's report, would you like to defer the application to discuss it with City Planning?
Well, sorry, this is Peter, Karen's husband. We live here together. We have, can we state our argument with you here now?
Sir, you have to speak up, and who am I speaking to?
Yeah, you're speaking to Peter Copetti, Karen's husband.
Okay, can you speak up, sir? It's hard to hear you.
Yes, Peter Copetti. I'm Karen's husband. I'm here with her.
Okay, so.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
So
what my question is, we would like to, why would we talk to them to speak to them about this? Because we think that there's multiple homes on the street
okay,
that
Matt.
all have a single garage.
Sir, just back up a minute. You want the committee to hear your application today, then you don't want it deferred so that you can discuss it with planning?
Yes.
You'd like it heard today?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you could make a presentation to the committee and give us what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Okay, thank you very much for hearing me, and thank you, committee, for hearing Karen and I. We've been at the home for over 20 years. We've never had to do anything to the driveway. Recently, things have changed because our twin boys, who are 18 years old now, both drive. And we find ourselves backing cars up in and out of the driveway at a stop sign, which is kind of dangerous for us. And we have 3 cars now, not 2. And so that's why we're asking for this. In our immediate street within 250 yards of our home, there's number 68, 102, 114, 182, 190, 192, 195, 199, and 203 are all homes which have a single car garage and a double driveway. Now, these were there, I guess, whenever, but we've been there for 20 years. We've never asked anything of the committee or anything. We're a family, and we're just trying to make things easier in our life and do something for that. So we're not backing in and out of the driveway all the time to move cars because we like to put one in the garage. So that's sort of our argument. I think there's a precedent on the street for it, and there's lots of our direct neighbors right beside us. They have exactly what we have, and they have a double driveway, literally next door. If you're facing our house to the left.
All
Okay,
we're
thank you.
asking is to get a curb cut.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I was up there myself. I took a look at the neighborhood, and I tend to agree that this type of driveway arrangement's not uncommon in the area. I'll just ask the committee, does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please, Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair, I agree. I think that this is characteristic for that neighborhood. I do understand what staff is saying. However, we've got a report from transportation that says I don't have an issue with this as well. And given the multitudes of homes that have that double driveway, I do believe that this is minor in nature and meets the 4 tests. I motion to approve this application without condition.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Khan dissenting. Sir, your application has been approved without condition. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 26, 32 Truman Road.
Mr. Chair, before we go any farther, I'd like to bring to your attention that the area resident that was signed up is not on the call. And
Okay,
they did not provide a phone number for me to cross-check either.
That's the Lomegas.
Correct.
Thank you. Okay, I have item number 26, 32 Truman Road. I have the agent, May Luong. Are you there?
Yes, I am.
Yes, hello, madam. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, my name is May Luong. My address is 64 Winners Circle, Toronto.
Okay, thank you, madam. I noticed that there is a report on file with your application, and it's a report from Transportation Services staff dated the 16th of September. And they're recommending that your application be refused, and that's your application with regards to have a parking, access to a parking space from both the flanking street and from the street on which the lot fronts. Now, in view of that report from Transportation Services, madam, would you like to defer your application so that you can discuss this with Transportation Services?
I have spoken with Transportation Services. We received the letter late Friday, and I was able to get a hold of Mr. Abraham a couple of days ago, and I have had a discussion with him, and I would like to present our discussions for your consideration.
Okay, so you'd like to move forward with your application today then?
Yes.
Okay, that being the case, if you could make a presentation to the committee on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Sure. Good afternoon, committee chair and members of committee. Again, my name is May Luong. I represent the property owner of 32 Truman Road. I'm also a land use planner. The proposal is to create a second driveway access to the property off of Jared Street. The proposal does not include any construction work to the home. The purpose for the second driveway is to allow for easy access to and from the driveway. The property owner and his wife are in their 70s, so backing out of the existing driveway is very challenging and dangerous during parts of the day. Adding a second driveway off of Jared Street, which has less traffic, will ease the owner's anxieties and make the parking maneuvering easier and safer as they can drive forward out of their driveway. Only one variance is required. It is a technical variance. The proposal is asking for the vehicular access from both a flanking street and from the street of which the lot fronts. As provided in the submission cover letter, majority of the neighborhood has some form of a double access or a turnaround on their property. At this intersection, the other 3 properties all have 2 driveways, one from each property line, similar to this proposal. This form of access appears to be the character and uniqueness of the neighborhood. We have also worked with city planning throughout this process, and they do not have any concerns with this application, and as such did not prepare a report. There are no issues with TRCA or urban forestry. Transportation Services did provide a letter, which we received late Friday, September 17th, that included indicating that they felt the proposed second access posed operational issues and that the access may cause queuing issues. I spoke to Mr. Abraham from Transportation Services about these concerns and advised that the majority of the properties in this neighborhood has 2 accesses or some form of a turnaround from their property, and that the other 3 properties at the same intersection have 2 driveways. Mr. Abraham was not aware of this. Furthermore, I advised that there would be no queuing issue because my client would be using the second access to pull forward and would be waiting for an appropriate time before proceeding onto the road. In our discussion, Mr. Abraham did not indicate that his concerns related to policy or regulation issues and that there was no technical supporting basis to his comments. He further agreed that a moving forward motion is a safer movement than backing out. The property owner has also spoken to many neighbors as many neighbors as possible prior to the hearing. We have provided all the signatures of support and accompanying map to show these properties in relation to the subject property. The immediate property owners at 26, 27, 56 Truman, and 76 Jared have supported this application. In fact, most of the neighbors in the immediate area have supported this application as shown on the map provided to the committee with the signatures. One property owner at 81 Jared Street, who originally signed the letter of support, raised some concerns. I note that 81 Jared Street also has 2 accesses. They express concerns relating to proximity to the corner, the number of parking spaces in front of the garage, the number of people living in the property, and the accusation that the home will become a rooming house for out-of-country students. My client has responded to the owner. The driveway will be constructed in accordance to city requirements. There will be no more than 2 cars in front of the driveway off of Truman, as the property owner and his wife lives in the house. The proposed driveway will not be used to park cars, and the house will remain a single-family dwelling house and will not be rented or used as a rooming house. In fact, the house is not designed or built to be used other than a single-family dwelling unit. This property owner later raised issues about poorly maintained landscaping. First, it is not poorly maintained. Also, the property owners currently redesigning their front and back landscaping area, and the proposed driveway will be part of the design. With respect to the 4 minor variance tests, the general intent and purpose of the official plan is maintained. The current use is single-family dwelling unit and it will remain as such. The proposed driveway actually further fits in with the character of the neighborhood and streetscape. The general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw is maintained. This is a residential detached zone and permits the existing dwelling unit. Only 1 technical variance is being sought. The proposal is minor in nature and respects and fits within the context of the neighborhood. Almost all the homes in the neighborhood have some form of a second access on their property or a turnaround within their property. Community planning has
Madam,
no
can you
issues with
summarize,
this
please?
proposal. Yes, and the last test that is desirable, we've obtained signatures from the neighborhood and it maintains the official plan and
Okay,
zoning
thank you,
bylaw.
madam.
So you can-
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have to be honest, madam, I was up there, took a look at the site, and I gotta be honest, Truman Street seems like a pretty sleepy neighborhood. I don't know, I can have a difficult time personally seeing what the justification would be for another access if you're saying it's really, you have difficulty getting out of your driveway, because I certainly didn't see that, but I'm not living there 24 hours a day, but I certainly got the impression that Truman's a pretty sleepy street. Is that true?
Parts of the day, Truman, because about 500 meters to the west is Bayview. There's actually quite a number of cars that go through Truman to access to Bayview. So parts of the day, it is very busy. And again, the property owner is in their 70s. And so they get really anxious and nervous backing out of their driveway and seeing that the other properties in the immediate area do have the second access. If they could have that second access, it will help them eliminate their anxieties and reduce the challenges in backing out of their property.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. The conversations that the agent had with Mr. Abrahams is what they're saying from transportation. I don't see that anywhere on file here. Was there any sort of letter or anything in writing that transportation had provided you that was contrary to what is currently in our file, which is to refuse this application?
It was through a discussion because of the limited time we had. We were not able to correspond back and forth. In fact, when I did finally reach him, he only had a limited time to speak with me. So the discussions was only verbal, and we did not have the pleasure of having written correspondence back and forth.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question to Madam Luong is, how long the existing driveway has been in use?
The existing driveway off of Truman has been there for, I believe, since the previous house that was there. Could be many years.
How
but
many years? I need the number, ma'am.
Okay. I have the representative of the property owner, the son of the property owner, who may have a better idea of the timing of it. But I do understand that the previous owner were renters of the property. They did not own the property, the people that lived there. But in terms of the timing, I will have to defer to the son of the property owner, who is also registered to speak to answer questions.
You are not answering my question, ma'am.
I have seen correspondence that possibly the driveway has been there for 20 years with the older home that was there.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. During the conversation with the Transportation Department, you've indicated that there has not been time for anything in writing regarding that conversation. But was there any indication at all that the transportation was prepared to change their recommendation because of the substance of your conversation?
Because the conversation was not very, Mr. Abraham actually had to leave the conversation earlier. We did not get into that discussion in further detail. But in discussing this now today, if the committee is more comfortable that we get something in writing from Mr. Abraham, we would welcome a deferral in order to get that satisfaction or that comfort for the committee.
Well, that would require that you defer your application, madam. Is that what you're proposing?
Yes, if that's what the committee would,
Well,
would
the
be
committee's not
would
going to
be
tell you what
looking
to
for.
do, madam. You have to make that choice. Okay?
right?
I indicated that at the beginning if you wanted to defer, and you said
Yes.
you wanted the application heard today. So, you know, it's
Right.
up, the
What-
committee may decide to defer it, but I'll leave it up to the committee. Does the
Okay,
committee have
I
any
would-
further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I mean, I find that driveway was existing for 20 years and there was no inconvenience. Now suddenly they are asking and they are not properly addressing the question raised by the transportation services. So I'm of the opinion that the second driveway from Gerald Street is close to a stop sign as indicated by the transportation services, as disclosed by the transport services in their letter of September 16, 2021, resulting a traffic jam on Gerald Street. It is not a minor variance. Therefore, I move that this is not a suitable development. It should be refused.
We have Mr. Khan, just to confirm, you recommend refusing the application?
Yes, sir.
Okay, someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application's been unanimously refused. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're now on item number 27, which is 119 Brook Avenue. I have two people registered to speak. I have the agent, Nafisa Zangiabadi, and I'm sure I've mispronounced that. Are you there?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Hello?
Hello?
We can't hear you.
Hello?
No, we can't hear you. You're very low. Can you speak up?
Hello?
Yes?
Good
Can I
afternoon,
get your
Mr.
full
Chair.
name and address, please?
Yes, name is Nafisa Zangiabadi, and phone number and address is 30 Apple Orchard Path, Thornhill, L3T3B6.
Okay, thank you. Madam, going through your file, I note that we have a report from City Planning on file with your application. It's dated the 8th of September. They appear to have no objections to your application, provided that the property is developed substantially in accordance with the west side elevation drawing submitted to the committee, attached as attachment number 1 to their report. Have you had the opportunity to review that report, madam?
Yes, we did, and we're okay with that.
Okay, thank you. I note that we have one other person registered to speak here, madam, so if you could give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Sure. The application is to propose a new two-story dwelling. We are requesting 6 variances in total. 3 of them deals with the rear deck, being 1.5% more than what is permitted, which creates variance number 1, 2, and 5 for the coverage. The other 2 are height and the length, which are in keeping with what has been approved in the neighborhood. And we're okay with the staff recommendation for tying the decision to the elevations. So, like, technically we're asking for 3 variances for the deck height and a little bit increase in the length, no setback variance, no overall height variance. And I believe this application is minor in nature and in keeping with the neighborhood previous decisions.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Karen Walker. Are you there?
Yes,
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 hello,
I
madam.
am.
Can I get your full name and address, please?
Karen Walker. I'm at 117 Brook Avenue, so adjacent to the proposed building site.
Okay, thank you, madam. If you'd like to give us your views on this application?
My concern is with the extension on the back. It's significantly wider than what's currently in the neighborhood, and it will block all light out of our backyard. Our deck will become basically shaded constantly. And I am concerned about our neighbors at 115 built a number of years ago, and we've had significant water damage since then. And I am worried that the same will happen with the pounding against a 90-year-old house.
Okay, madam, if you don't know, if this application is approved, and in order for them to get a building permit, they have to submit a lot grading plan that shows that all their stormwater is managed on their own property. That would be a
I agree. I understand that, but the problem is that the house that was built at 115 had to do that as well. So we had no concerns at the time, yet we still had leakage problems
Okay,
that
thank
were
you.
non-existent before the house was built.
Okay, thank you.
You have to understand this street has tons of creeks and tiny little tribulates that go through. One of the other things is that my understanding, and I could be wrong about this, is that underground or below grade basements, garages are not permitted in our neighborhood. That was
No.
my understanding. This could be out of date information, but I have concerns about that as well.
I don't believe they have a below-grade garage, ma'am. Not,
They
madam, I
do,
hope that's
according
what's
to
being
the,
proposed in the there may be some on the street, but they were approved probably years ago before the passage of the new bylaw.
Yes, many years ago, there are some on the streets, but this one that's being built at 119 shows a below level.
But we will ask the agent when they come back. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Thank you. I'll go back to the agent. Ms. Zangiabati, are you there?
Yes.
You heard the comments from the previous speaker. If you'd like to reply to them, please.
Yes, I did. First of all, I'll start with the below garage comment. We don't have a below grade garage. We have a 2% slope for the driver from the curb cut. So there's no below grade garage in our proposal. There are some in the neighborhood, I've seen them, but not our proposal. And that's not permitted. If it was a below grade garage, we would have that on the zoning notice. So I can assure you that there's no below grade garage. And as for the grading, of course, it's not a matter of committee. It will be addressed later during the building permit. And for the comment about the house being wide at the rear, we are complying with the side yard setbacks on both sides. So we are not building wider than what is permitted. And in terms of the length, we're just 4 feet more than what is permitted. Their house itself is only 12.5 meter deep. So even if we would have to build according to the bylaw of 17 meter, we would have been farther away in the backyard from their house. So I believe whatever we had built there, even within the bylaw, would have been further in the backyard. And we tried to comply with the side yard setback on both sides, just to give a space to our neighbors. So that wouldn't, because their existing house right now is only 6 inches from the property line. We are building the new house 3 feet away, so that's gonna actually make the situation better. The coverage, as I said, is because of the deck being included in the coverage, whereas the coverage is only 1% more than what is permitted. 35 is permitted, and without the deck, we're going to be at 36. So I believe that our variances are very minor in nature and are keeping up with the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm persuaded by the points put forward by the agent, and I feel the requested variances meet the criteria for minor variance, and I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application subject to the conditions set out in the staff report dated September 8th, that the property be developed substantially in accordance with the west side elevation drawing submitted to the Committee of Adjustment as attachment 1 to the planning report.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Someone to second Mr. Kidd's motion. Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application has been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 28, 104 Olive Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That is the agent, Mehdi Ajvand. Are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure. My name is Mehdi Ajman. I'm here as the architect of the project, and the address is 1901 Avenue Road, and I'm here presenting the case on behalf of my client.
Okay, thank you, sir. We have a report, going through your file, there's a report listed there from City Planning dated the 14th of September. They're recommending that you modify variance number 5 for the proposed rear deck projection from 4.27 meters to 3.66 meters. And if that modification isn't made, that variance is refused. And then they're also suggesting that if the revised application is approved, staff recommends the proposal be constructed substantially in accordance with the east elevation, west elevation, and site plan drawings, date stamped as received on September 1st, 2021, submitted to the committee and as attached as attachments 1 and 2 to the report, and that a 1.8 meter privacy screen is maintained along the rear deck's east side. Have you had the opportunity to read that report, sir?
Yes, sir, and we are totally okay with that.
Now, can I ask, are you proposing to make that change to variance number 5?
Yes, sir, we are proposing to change on variance number 5 based on the staff report that we have to reduce the number from 4.27 to, let me find the number over here.
3.66.
3.66, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So you're changing variance number 5, which currently reads the proposed deck project 4.27 meters and height 2.44 meters above the average grade. That will be changed to read the proposed deck project 3.66 meters and height 2.44 meters above the average grade. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Pretty clear what you're asking for in the variances we have before us. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
Actually, it's very clear. We are asking for the wall height, side setback, and the length, and also the deck, which we already reduced it. For the side setback, we already had back and forth with the planner of the case, and we improved the case. And the number that we are asking as a planner is stated in his report is just for the very small portion of the side. Most of our building is complying with even 6 feet side setback on the west elevation, and on the west elevation we have 5 feet setback. And also for the wall height, generally the building is on 7.87 meter. Just for a portion at the front, which is return of the front wall, we are asking for that variance, and we are generally okay with tying the elevation to the decision. That's it. If there is any concern or a question from the committee member, I would be more than happy to address them.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this revised application, please? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Variance number 5 has been modified to 3.66, and the staff recommendations are, I'm reading, be developed substantially in accordance with 1, with the east elevation, west elevation, and the site plan drawings, dated September 1st, 2021, submitted to the Committee of Adjustment, attachment 1 and 2 to this report. Number 2, a 1.8-meter privacy screen on east of the rear deck be maintained. And these are the conditions. With that, I move application be approved with conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Someone to second that motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? The motion carries unanimously. Sir, your revised application's been unanimously approved, subject to city planning conditions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Item number 29, 75 Florence Avenue.
Hello,
I
Mr. Chair.
have one person registered to speak. And that is Babak Haji Gassemi. Are you there?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm here.
Yes, sir. Before we start, I just wanted to go through this. A couple of reports on file with your application. There's one from Urban Forestry dated 10th of September. They're recommending your application be refused due to the potential removal of city-owned Norway maple trees. We have a report from City Planning dated the 14th of September, which is recommending that your application be refused. And we also have a letter from Councillor Filion dated the 23rd of September, which supports planning recommendation that your application be refused. I just wanted to ask, sir, in view of the comments from City Planning, would you like to defer your application so that you can discuss their issues with them directly?
No, sir. This application has been previously heard before the committee. However, we just we appealed the refusal decision for the consent and one of the minor variances. And for some reason, there was a mistake with the appeal for this application. And that's the only reason that we are here today. I'm not here to present the project. This application was previously presented and refused.
Okay, so
and we just want to.
you'd like the application heard today?
Yes, please.
Okay, so if that being the case, you'll have to make a presentation to the committee and tell them why we should support your application in view of City Planning and Urban Forestry's comments.
Yeah, so my name is Babak Haji from Arc Lab Studio, 355 Eglinton Avenue West. So I explained briefly the reason that we're here today. This application was heard along with 75 Florence Part A, however, and the consent application. However, we missed, for some reason, there was a mistake with our appeal, and our appeal didn't go through. You just needed to get the file activated so that we can appeal a decision that is going to be made today. This file needs to be, it was previously heard along with those two applications. Therefore, I don't think a presentation is necessary because I think we know that there's objections to this application.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I think the applicant is probably very well aware that, given the area, given the staff report, given the forestry's report, which is recommending refusal, condition number 5 means refusal, as well as the councillor's memo. And there's nothing that provided evidence contrary to what they're saying. I'll motion to refuse this application.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your application has been unanimously refused. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Item number 30, 14 Riker Crescent. I have 4 people registered to speak. The agent is a Mahir Manios. Are you there?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you, sir. Just going through your file, I noticed that there's a report from Toronto Region and Conservation Authority, a couple of them, 29th of June and the 14th of September. They don't have any objections to your application. We have recommended condition from Urban Forestry, but that's it. We do have 3 other people who'd like to speak to this application, sir. So if you could give us a presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Yes, Mr. Chair. So it's Meher Manias, number 1 Teakwood Grove, Toronto, N3B 2H9. We've reviewed, I'd just like to start with, we've reviewed the letters from the neighbors and would like to amend the application, if the committee would please. So
Okay,
we'd like to change variance.
What changes are you
Sorry.
proposing to make, sir?
Sure. Variance number 1, the FSI will be changing it to 0.662.
Hang on just a moment. Just a moment.
Sure.
Okay, variance number 1, currently you have, that's the floor space index. You currently have a request for a FSI of 0.682. So you're proposing to change that?
To 0.662, so 2 percentage points down.
Okay, so you're going from 0.682 to an FSI of 0.662.
Correct. And then variance number 2 and 3, which are the side yard setbacks, to modify that from 0.91 to 1.06 meters.
Hang on just a second. Variance
Sure.
number 2 currently reads the existing house setback is 0.68. Are you proposing to change that?
No. Okay, so this is a new house. For some reason, the notice notes the existing setback, but the proposed setback is 0.91.
Okay,
And we'd like to change.
Hang on just a second. Variance number 2, it reads the existing house setback is 0.68 meters.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, the second line notes the proposed house would be setback 0.91 meters.
Okay.
So changing the 0.91 to 1.06.
Hang on. 0.91 to
1.06.
1.06. So it will read, the proposed house will be set back 1.06 meters on the north side yard. Is that correct?
That's correct. And same thing with variance number 3.
Okay, 2 and 3 are read the same thing. Okay, thank you.
Sure. The last note where it says the note, that's just for information what the existing setback of the existing house is, but it's of no relevance to the variance.
Okay, thank you, sir. If you'd like to give the committee a brief presentation on what you see as the merits of your revised application.
Sure. So I'll start with, so the proposal is for a new 2-story dwelling to replace the existing 2-story house. Variance 1 being the FSI, which is now revised to 0.661. I'd just like to bring to the attention of the committee, this is at the low end of what's been approved on Riker, and we submitted a summary of all the previous approvals in the neighborhood. And just on Riker, there's about a dozen applications. All of them have higher FSIs, and all of them include as well coverage variances, smaller side yard setbacks, building length and height. So we'd like to submit that this is within what's been developed on the street, both whether it's renovations and additions or whether they're new houses. Regarding the side yard setback, I don't know if staff can bring up the existing survey. That would be helpful because actually the survey shows, not the site plan, the survey, please. The survey shows the 4 houses, number 12, 14, 16, and 18, and there's a consistent streetscape where the setback on the one side is 0.5, on the other is 0.7, which is basically for an aggregate of 1.2 meters. The proposal in front of you today is for double that, which is almost 2.16, the aggregate of the 2 side yard setbacks that we're proposing. So this is an improvement to the existing condition, which is it's 0.5 and 0.7. If we were to do this as a renovation addition, we're allowed to build in line with the existing side walls of the house. So basically, we will be maintaining the setback. So what we're doing here is actually an improvement to the existing condition. As you know, that noted, Mr. Chair, there's TRC has no objection. Ravine Control, we've been in consultation with them. They have no objection to the application as well. There is 4 trees slated to be removed at the back. They're more related to a possible future swimming pool. 2 of the trees are invasive species. One of them is in poor condition and one of them is undersized. So that's why Ravine Control didn't write anything to note that they have objection to this. We have no issue with the condition requested by Urban Forestry, which is to submit an application, which we already did 2 months ago when we submitted the Committee for Adjustment application. Additionally, in light of the south neighbor concern about windows on the proposed side of the house, although the neighbor has windows of his own, we're proposing that if the committee sees it fit to approve this application, that all the windows on the south elevation would be of translucent nature, so that will give complete privacy to the south neighbor, given that it's a staircase and bathroom windows. Regarding the landscaping at the backyard, we're proposing 87% soft versus the required 50, which is well above the requirement. And the house coverage would be less than 34% with the revised setbacks that we've submitted in front of you today. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll move to the next speaker on the list. I have a Jeff Cattell. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, members, Jeff Cattell is not present on the call, nor did they provide a phone number for me to cross-check.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Wills. Take him off the list. Next person on the list is a Madeline Reno. Are you there?
Yes.
Yes, madam. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Madeline Reno, 16 Riker Crescent.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
I'm pleased that they're willing to make some adjustment. My big concern is this is a ravine property. There is a very massive willow tree at the back of this property, and the loss of all the trees, which I know the committee does not vote on. So I'm okay with some of the concessions that they've made. So I don't have anything else to say.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go to the next person on the list. I have a Ted Polteranos. Are you there? Ted Polteranos, are you there?
Mr. Chair, members, Ted is on the call and he is unmuted.
Mr. Polteranos, are you there?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes,
Mr.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Polteranos? Hello, it's
Yes.
Committee of Adjustment. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Can I get your full name and address, please, sir?
Ted Polteranos, 12 Riker Crescent, East York, Ontario.
Great, thank you, sir. If you'd like to give us your thoughts on this revised application.
Yeah, I submitted a letter which detailed all the points. I guess in summary, there's 2 concerns that we have. The size of the property was originally 0.682 FSI coverage. I understand it's now being proposed to go down to 0.662, which is an improvement, but still more than 10% larger than what the bylaw allows. As Ms. Reno suggested, this is a ravine property, as is ours, and we're concerned about the impact on the ravine. So the extra size of the house, with a proposed terrace and a proposed swimming pool, means that the vast majority of the lot would be covered by non-water absorbing surfaces. So there would be a lot of rain runoff, which could potentially damage the ravine at the back because there really is nowhere else to go. Also, we are personally concerned about that runoff and the fact that there will be very little softscape, I think is what it's called, to drain the water, and we're worried that it would come onto our lot, and we've had issues in the past with flooding. Also the size of the property, I know the architect talked about the 4 trees that were going to be removed, but based on where those trees are located, it looks like had the applicant stuck to the 0.60 FSI, those 4 trees probably could have been saved. And for a ravine lot and the character of the neighborhood, that's important. And I guess most importantly is the, we don't see a reason why this house has to be so big. It's on a 40-foot lot, which is very large for the Leaside neighborhood. It's 136 feet deep, again, a large lot size. So there is ample opportunity to build a large home and still stay within the bylaws. That was what we did when we renovated our house 11 years ago. That was what the Reno family did when they renovated their house several years ago. That was what number 6 Riker did when they renovated their house about a year ago. And we don't see a reason why this owner can't follow those same rules. He is a developer who has purchased and sold property, at least one property in the neighborhood. He's fully aware of what the bylaws are, and if he really wanted a house this big, there are other opportunities and places that he should have gone. And we're disappointed by the size. Also about the side setback, we are pleased to see the 15 centimeter allowance that they've given. It's still slightly below what the bylaw requires, but that is, it's a positive step anyways. Again, we're concerned with the closeness of the house, with the potential water runoff, potential damage to our foundation and or weeping tile system during construction because it's so close. And then the enjoyment of the property. I know the architect suggested that, if they had have just renovated instead of rebuilding, they could have kept the house, closer to the property line than it is today. And while that would be the case, there also would not be construction that would risk damaging our foundation, and we wouldn't have windows there that will impact our privacy. So, I kind of reject that argument. So in conclusion, we're concerned about the ravine, the impact on our property, obviously the neighbor on the other sides as well, and the character of the neighborhood, which we feel would be impacted by the large size of the house. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go back to the agent, Mr. Manios. Are you there?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Manios,
so
you've
what-
heard the comments from the previous speakers. If you'd like to reply to them.
Sure, I'll go through them one by one, Mr. Chair. Regarding this being a ravine property, we have done extensive geotech investigations. We've consulted with the TRCA, and that's why in front of you is a no objection letter from the TRCA. So I don't think there's any issue regarding that. The terrace size, as I mentioned, the soft landscaping that we're proposing in the backyard is 87% versus the allowable 50%. The terrace is at grade. It's not an elevated deck or patio, which is some of the houses that you see designed lately with the garage and the main floor lifted above, and you have these terraces at a higher level overlooking the neighbors. This terrace is only 12 inches above grade, and it doesn't occupy more than 13 or 14% of the property. The trees have nothing to do with the GFI or the FSI. So if you refer to the site plan, you'll notice the proposed swimming pool. The reason we had to show it is because this is a TRCA property, and we had to have this vetted by the TRCA given the stable top of slope. The request to remove those 3 or 4 trees relate to the pool and not to the house. So even if the house was slightly smaller, by reducing the depth of it, those trees will still be affected. And as I mentioned, the reason ravine control hasn't objected to this application is the fact that 2 of them are invasive species. One of them is in poor condition and the other one is undersized. Hence, you don't have anything in objection from ravine control. The neighbor, I think number 16, was mentioning the willow at the back. In the last couple of days, as per the requirements from ravine control, they've asked us to do daylighting of the roots. That has been done, and luckily there hasn't been any major roots. A report has been submitted to ravine control. We're just waiting to hear back from them. If they decide that the pool doesn't work, then the pool will be removed, but that still has no impact on the house itself. Regarding the setbacks, the reason the neighbors didn't have to get a variance is because they've taken advantage of the allowance to build in line with the existing setbacks. Hence, they don't have to comply with the 1.2 meter requirement. I'd just like to bring to the attention of the committee that these neighborhood, the Lee side and the North Lee side, has been built in the 1950s when the bylaw is actually 0.9 meters. And although that, all of these houses, like as I presented on the survey between 12, 14, 16, and 18, none of them even have 0.9. All of these houses have an aggregate setback of 1.2. We're proposing almost double that setback. if we were to build this as a renovation without sounding as a broken record, there would actually be reduced setbacks between the houses. The proposed addition at the back would be closer to the property line. And I think that will cause more damage, if any, to the neighboring properties just because the proximity of the construction. I think we've alleviated that by the increased setback from where the existing conditions are. And the fact that the existing house doesn't have a window on the south side doesn't mean those windows couldn't have been added if there's an addition. All we have to do is just provide fire shutters. And I'd like to refer you one more time to the summary of the previous decisions that we've submitted, and it shows numerous examples on Riker where houses have higher GFSIs, they have coverage variances, they have height variances, building length and everything. What we're proposing in front of you today is one of the lower FSIs on the street, bigger setbacks than most of the houses that have been built and renovated if they don't take advantage of the building in line. Plus, we don't have any height, building length variances as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions from the committee.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to bring to your attention that the one area resident is now on the call. Jeff Cattell is present on the call now.
Okay, thank you. Sir, I'll give you another chance to respond. We have one of the other callers who's managed to call back in. Mr. Cattell, are you there? Mr. Cattell, we can't hear you. Mr. Cattell, we can't hear you. Mr. Cattell? You're all distorted. We can't hear you. Mr. Cattell, we can't hear you. Your voice is distorted. Are you there?
Jeff, please stop muting and unmuting yourself. Please leave the muting and unmuting capabilities up to staff.
Mr. Cattell, are you there? Mr. Cattell, we can't hear you. Your voice is distorted. Mr. Cattell, one more time. Are you there? Sir, we can't hear you. Your voice is distorted. Sir, we can't hear you. You know what I'm going to do, Mr. Wills? I'm going to go on to the next item, and we'll come back. Mr. Manios, my apologies.
Jeff, if you could log out and log back in and authorize your microphone again, that'd be great.
We'll go to item number 31, 23 Cora Urbel Way. I have two people registered to speak. The first is the agent, Roger Singh. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, before we go any further, I'd like to note that the area resident is not on the call.
Okay, thank you.
I am.
Okay, Mr. Singh, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, Roger Singh, 23 Cora Urbel Way.
Okay, thank you, sir. I was going through your file. I note that we have a report from City Planning dated the 16th of September. They're recommending that you modify the following variances by removing variance number 1, which relates to the lot area of the rear deck lot area of the rear deck, and remove variance number 4 regarding the lot coverage. So their recommendation was removing variance number 1 and variance number 4. Have you had the opportunity to review that report, sir?
Yes, I actually got it today, and that is correct. In fact, that's the reason for me to call into the meeting. So the removals of the
So, sir, hang on just a second. Can you speak up?
Yes. Oh, I apologize.
Okay, now,
I did get the chance to review that. That is correct.
okay, are you proposing to remove variances number 1 and number 4?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so variance number 1 and variance number 4 are deleted. Any other changes?
No other changes.
No other changes. Okay, thank you. Is there, pretty clear what you're asking for, sir. Is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this afternoon?
Just that this deck is an existing deck that was put in by the builders in this townhouse complex. There are 6 other decks of this size on this side and 6 on the adjacent townhouses. And they all will have this issue when they come up for repair.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this revised application? Please note that variances number 1 and number 4 have been deleted. We're just dealing with 3 variances. Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Since variance number 1 and number 4 has been eliminated, variance number 2 and 3 and 5 are minor. So therefore, I move that this application be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Khan. Someone to second Mr. Khan's motion to approve. Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your revised application's been unanimously approved without condition. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll go back to item number 30, 14 Riker Crescent. Mr. Cattell, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Jeff Cattell, I'm co-president of the Eastside Residents Association with our post office box at 1601 Bayview Avenue. We are here in support of the neighbor concerns, widespread neighbor concerns about this application. We noticed the last minute changes from the application. Obviously, they are improvements. They've reduced the FSI slightly and reduced or increased the side yard setback. However, we would really object to these kind of on-the-fly changes that are made. There's been no presentation of the impact of these changes on the building, so that the neighbors, have a proper information as to what the layout will be, the plan will be, what the height will be, and so on. There's reductions, but it's not very clear because they're on the fly at the last moment. Taking into account the concerns of the immediate neighbors, we would suggest that the committee add a rider to a motion requiring a construction agreement to be undertaken with the neighbors, so that their concerns around construction, as it's pointed out, this is new construction and can impact on the adjacent homes. And those are our comments.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Okay, thank you. Mr. Manios, are you still there?
Yes, I am, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, you heard the comments from Mr. Cattell. If you'd like to reply to them.
Sure. I'll just address the last minute revision. The reason for that, we distributed packages over 2 weeks ago to all the immediate neighbors, about 16 packages. And we just heard in the last 2 or 3 days from the 2 immediate neighbors, and that's the reason for the last minute change. If it wasn't for that, we would have been in front of the committee with the original variances. So it is because of listening to what the neighbors had to say that we made these revisions. So that's why it's on the fly, for lack of a better word. Regarding construction agreement, I'd like to submit, as I said earlier, is with the 1.06 meter setback, this is actually an improvement over and above if we were to do this as a renovation addition, because the addition at the back will actually be half the setback that we're proposing, which will cause additional damage. We still have to go through building permit. We have to satisfy code requirements for shoring and what have you. So we're happy to work with the neighbors, but I don't see how the committee can put a condition like that. And I want to point out again is there's no staff report. which means that what we're proposing today, I'd like to think what we're proposing today is in keeping and actually will blend in nicely with the neighborhoods. We do have increased setbacks, and it's one of the smaller houses, new houses that are going to be built in this neighborhood as per the previous decisions that we've given you. And happy to answer any more questions.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this revised application? Please note that variance number 1, the proposed floor space index has been reduced from 0.682 to 0.662. And on variance number 2 and 3, the proposed house setback of 0.91 on the north and south side yards has been increased to 1.06 meters. So if I could get a motion on that revised application, please. Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. I'm happy that the agent did do that consultative work and did try to amend the application to appease the neighbors. And I do believe the amended application does, in my eyes, meet the 4 tests and is in keeping with that theme as well. So with that in mind, I'm going to motion to approve this application. And I'm not going to repeat the changes because you've done so, Mr. Chair, but I will say it's in a motion to approve with the changes that were stated here today by the applicant and make it subject as well to forestry. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? Mr. Hunter, are you in favor? That motion carries. Sir, your revised application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Item number 32, we are at 16 Park Hill Road.
Mr. Chair and members, Tay Ruck will be the presenter for this file, as
Okay,
we have
thank
2 names on the file.
Thank you, Mr. Wills. 16 Park Hill Road, item number 32. I have the agent, Ty Rook. Are you there?
Sir, it's Tay Rook. I am
Rook?
the planner
Yes,
for
thank
the
you.
owners. Yes. I'm the
Can I
owner
get
for the
your-
planner. Sorry, sir.
Okay.
I'm the planner for the owners of the property at 16 Park Hill. I'm at 18 Young Street.
Thank you. Wanted to ask, sir, there is a report on file with your application from city planning dated the 15th of September. They're recommending reducing variance number 1 with respect to the proposed floor space index to a maximum of 0.83 times the area of the lot. Now, I wanted to ask, does this effectively put a torpedo into your current proposal?
Well, I can get into it. Does to answer that question, I could get into why we believe that the current FSI is a reasonable one, because
Okay,
the third
just
story.
let me ask, sir, would you like to
Yeah.
defer the application so that you can discuss it with planning, or would you like to proceed today?
We would like to proceed today, sir.
Okay, thank you. If you could give us your views on what you see as the merits of your proposal?
Sure, sir. Just before I start, I would like to say that we're eliminating one of the variances, and that
Okay,
is
and
variance
which
number
one is
7.
that?
Variance number 7.
That's the building height.
related- Correct. So it will be
Yeah,
11
that's
meters.
the building height under the old North York bylaw.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Variance number 7 is deleted.
Thank you, sir. So, sir, before you today, we have a 3-story detached dwelling that's being constructed on the subject site. There is an FSI variance of 0.93 that is being sought on the property. And there was a variance approved map that was submitted to the committee. And what you find on that map are properties that have been approved in the area within the range of 0.74, as high as up to 0.95 in terms of FSI. 0.95 being 122 Whitmore Avenue, which is just north of the subject site. And the reason for the 0.93 FSI that's being proposed on the site is a result of the roof area, which is completely enclosed. There's no windows. No one could perceive that there would be livable space in that area. And as a result of that, that becomes a point that results in an FSI of 0.93. If you were to eliminate that livable area within the roof structure, the FSI actually comes down to 0.79, and the building envelope would remain exactly the same. So from a person who's walking by the street, who would perceive, it would no perception would be different in terms of if it's a 0.79 times house or 0.93 times house. You'll also note, if you look at the site plan, that the house in itself, in terms of front yard setbacks, side yard setbacks, and rear yard setbacks, are all complied with. The building dwelling itself, it has a length of 15.08 meters, which is less than the bylaw requirement, with a maximum standard of 17 meters. And you'll note that the rear wall of the subject property is in line with the adjacent properties on either side. And this was done consciously to ensure that there was no impacts associated with the rear yards of the adjacent neighbors. What you also find is that from a building massing perspective, because we have eliminated the variance for building height, we have a building envelope, as I indicated, from setbacks perspective and building height perspective, that is in compliance with the zoning bylaw. And to put it frankly, in this particular case, FSI isn't a true representation of the size of the home and whether or not if it's considered overdevelopment. The 0.93 number, as I indicated, is contained within the roof structure, and there's no windows piercing out to the front yard, side yards, or to the rear that would indicate that there's livable space there. Secondly, there's variances related to the balconies. There's 2 balconies in the rear. They're very small balconies. They're Juliet balconies on the 2nd and 3rd floors. They do not extend beyond the rear walls of the adjacent properties. And that was done consciously, once again, to ensure that we maintain a consistent rear building lot line. In addition to that, there's a variance related to the front porch. And front porches within this area are found throughout the neighborhood on Park Hill, Whitmore, Farley, Fairley, and this is something that is more than common throughout the neighborhood, and it provides an architectural interest in eyes on the street as well. The 4th variance relates to the rear deck. It's a small deck area, basically allows for access onto the rear yard from the elevator 1st floor. And it doesn't encompass the whole width of the rear yard. It's a small portion at the back on the northerly side. And we did that consciously, once again, to ensure that maintains the privacy and views that would be protected for the area. The 5th variance relates to the projection of the canopy over the rear deck. And this is simply to just provide coverage from the elements. And once again, it does not extend the whole entire width of the rear wall. And lastly, there's a front element at the front elevation, which sticks out. And once again, this was to ensure that we didn't have a flat wall that would be projected onto the streetscape and to provide more architectural interest along the streetscape. Once again, irrespective of the building itself in its principal form, the principal building itself respects all of the front, side, and rear yard setbacks. We do have these minor projections, but once again, it is a benefit to the streetscape and the way that they would present to the street itself. Having eliminated the building height variance, we're currently at 11 meters, and that 11 meters in terms of the building height and shadows and overviews that it may project shouldn't be a concern anymore, as we comply with the zoning bylaw, and any shadows or views that would be that would occur as a result of this proposal would be expected and is anticipated under the zoning bylaw. I know we also have 8 letters of support that were submitted from 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 Park Hill, and 1 from 11 Fairley Crescent. And this
Sir,
is
can you
our
summarize,
submission.
please?
Yes, sir. So it is a reasonable proposal. There is a technical reason for the higher 0.93 FSI number. It is included in the roof line, and I do believe there is some opposition from the neighbors, and I'll be glad to answer questions as well.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just wanted to confirm the building height of your proposal. Does it comply
Yes.
with bylaw 2013-569, the new bylaw?
It does, sir.
Okay.
Yes, it
thank you.
does.
Okay, thank you. I'll go to the next. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question to Mr. Ruick is that since you have eliminated variance number 7, you have deleted, right?
Correct.
Sir, now I'm going back to your variance number 1.
Yes.
Okay, forget about that. I'm going to your purpose of application. You are saying constructing 3 stories adjacent to the existing structure, right?
It's a new house that will be 3 stories and 3 stories.
Okay, sir. Now, having that in mind or in front of your site, you are deleting variance number 7, which is the height. What will be the present height with that purpose in mind?
I'm not sure I understand the question, sir.
Sir, my question is what will be the eventual height with 3-story construction?
Oh, it'll be 11 meters, sir.
It will be still the same.
Well, no, because we were originally proposed 11.11 meters, and we've reduced it down to 11 meters, so we comply with both bylaws.
Mr. Roig, you are quoting old bylaws. Why don't
Right.
you construct buildings according to the present bylaws?
Well, we do comply with the current bylaw already. So you'll note that there wasn't a height variance for under 569-2013. The only height variance was related to the old bylaw.
The present bylaw does not allow 11 meters, sir.
Sir, we do not have a variance for height, and it's not in the list, it's not in the public notice, it's not in the zoning notice as well.
But I have to know the height of the building before I know that you are constructing 3 stories, which is not allowed.
The height of the building is 11 meters. We don't have a variance related to number of stories. It's a variance. The only building variance that was related to height was under the old bylaw, which was 11.11, and we've eliminated that variance. So there is no variances related to number of stories or number of height.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We'll go to the next person on the list now. Any further questions of the speaker? Being none, the next person on the list is Stephen or Nancy Weisbrod. Are you there?
Yes, I am. It's Nancy.
Yes, can I get your
Weisbrod.
full name and address, please?
Yes, Nancy Weisbrod, 15 Park Hill Road, Toronto.
Okay, madam, it's somewhat hard to hear you. Can you speak into your phone properly and speak up?
Yes, is that better?
That's better, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, committee. And I appreciate the remarks that Mr. Ryak has made and the change to the variance. We live across the street from the proposed building, and I submitted a letter which outlines concerns that the agent has addressed, so I won't repeat those, but I must take issue with certain of the points that Mr. Ryak raised. The first is he mentioned letters of support from neighbors. On this street, there have been the block between Eglinton and Whitmore. There have been approximately three-story homes built, all on the east side, where the backyards face onto the Allen Expressway. This is the first one that is going to be proposed, to my understanding, on the west side of the street. It is not in keeping with the streetscape. These homes have been built in the 1930s and 40s. There's bungalows, 1.5 stories and 2 stories. A 3-story home, in my opinion, stands out like a sore thumb. He mentioned that the rear yard is the same as the neighbors, but due to the platform and the porches that were mentioned, I cannot speak on behalf of my across the street neighbor, Mr. Malcolm Finley, but I know that he submitted a letter as well. He's a senior gentleman, and he's extremely concerned, as I would be, that the balconies infringe on his privacy in a very major way. We have experienced that with our north neighbors to the north, which also put a raised deck on, and they look into our backyard when they're sitting on the deck. So I can relate to that. And in terms of the streetscape, with the architectural detail and the variance on the front yard setback, it is not in keeping with the way the other homes are constructed. Lastly, I just want to say that although we do welcome new neighbors onto the street, when projects like this are kind of put out with any kind of consultation with the bulk of the neighbors, aside from the ones that they feel are going to support the project, it becomes very difficult to continue the harmony and the physical consistency and charm of the streetscape. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to the next person on the list. I have Malcolm or Lorna Finlay. Are you there? Malcolm or Lorna Finlay, are you there? Malcolm or Lorna Finlay, are you there?
Mr. Chair, members, I have a registered participant as Malcolm, and they are unmuted and they are able to speak.
I'll call them out one more time. Malcolm and Lorna Finlay, are you there? No one there.
Sorry, I'm having sound problems.
Yes, hello. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I just had to switch headphones.
Okay.
I'm Lorna Finlay.
Yes.
And I'm renting my father, Malcolm Finlay, at 14 Park Hill Road, Toronto.
Okay, thank you, madam. If you could give us your thoughts on this application?
So we also sent in a letter, which we assume that the committee and maybe the applicant as well has read. And so I don't want to go over all the details. And I have to admit, I found some of the discussion from the agent confusing. I'm not experienced in this, so I didn't follow some of the discussions. But our primary concern is that the construction of my father's home, which is a bungalow, is that there are a significant number of windows on the south wall. Under the current house, there's what I call a cutout in the side. So his dining room windows look out into sort of an open space. And that's what provides light to the ground floor or the main floor of the house. And the application said that they were going to construct a 3-story addition to the existing dwelling. But when we review the plans, they're not following the existing footprint of the house. So that cutout is being filled in. And our concern is that with a solid wall going 11 meters up, yes, there's my father's dining room, that he's going to have no natural light come into the side of his house. And that affects most of the living space in the main floor of the house. And these lots are very tight. The existing homes even are very close to the respective property lines. My father's house is about 12 inches from the property line. And my understanding is that this new dwelling is going to be set back 1 foot 7 inches. So he's within a meter of his home, he's just going to have a sheer wall that extends the length of his property. And so we feel it will make the house dark, and it will reduce his enjoyment and of his home. The other thing that we noted in our letter is concerns around the chimney. The chimney in the house is on the north wall. And so this house will extend beyond the line of the chimney. And so we have concerns, are there going to be issues around the height of my father's chimney? And I'll say that's, I'll conclude my comments there unless somebody from the committee has any questions for us.
Okay, thank you, Madam. I'll ask the committee. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, I'll go back to the agent. Mr. Rook, are you there?
Yes, sir.
You've heard the comments from the previous speakers, if you'd like to reply to them.
Sure. I'll start with the number of stories for the proposal. It is a three-story dwelling that will result as a result of this application. However, if you look at the front elevations or any of the elevations for that matter, this house will present itself as a two-story dwelling towards a street. It has no height variances, which would suggest that this is too tall for the streetscape, or that's it's anticipated for the area. In addition to that, as it relates to shadows, once again, the we're under the bylaw requirements for height, and any shadows that would be resulting from this application is anticipated or expected from the bylaw and from the various official plan and various policy documents. In terms of impact that is associated with it, we're not introducing any new impacts or any adverse impacts that would be considered detrimental to the adjacent properties. And once again, as it relates to the window on Mrs. and Mr. Finley's north side yard, we do not have a side yard setback variance on either side, to the north or to the south. So we are respecting the setbacks. And once again, there isn't any height variances. There's no main wall height variances, and there isn't even a variance related to number of stories. So we have a building that is less than the building length requirements at 15.08 meters. So because we wanted to be very respectful of the length of the dwelling, we did not want to extend beyond the rear walls of these properties. And as it relates to the south elevation, there is a window located on the second story, but we were very cognizant in terms of not placing so many windows along the side elevations to ensure that the privacy is protected for the adjacent properties. With regards to the chimney that was mentioned by Ms. Finley, that is a building code issue. And as the committee is aware, if the committee does approve this application, building department will do a code review. And if there's any issues associated with that, we would have to address it at that phase. And I do believe, and with regards to the balconies, once again, you'll see on that side elevation that's on the screen, there's a small balcony on the third floor that doesn't protrude beyond the rear wall. And we did that on purpose to ensure that we didn't have a structure that's protruding out beyond the rear wall. And you'll note that there's a small Juliet balcony on the second story above the projection over the rear deck, which is a very small balcony once again. And that balcony in itself doesn't protrude beyond the adjacent dwellings as well. And this was all done consciously to ensure that the protection of privacy and views are protected for the adjacent properties. This proposal in its entirety is a meritorious one. And with regards to the FSI, once again, it is all contained within the roof structure, which is within the bylaw requirements.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Okay, there being none, please note that variance number 7 related to the building height under former North York bylaw 7625 has been deleted. If I could get a motion on this revised application, please. Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, although some modification have been made in the presentation by the Mr. Hewitt, I find this application that variance number 1, floor space index, which has been modified to 0.83, is still very high than the allowable of 0.660. And I also find other variance number 2 platforms instead of 1. And where is number 3, 4, and 5 encroachments? And they are all encroachments, and some details I don't have. So therefore, to me, where is number 1, where is number 2 are not minor. They are a little bit different than acceptable. Therefore, I move that this application be refused.
Okay, we have a motion from Mr. Khan to refuse the application. Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Ms. Sanker and Mr. Kidd dissenting, so we have a tied vote. I won't support Mr. Khan's motion. Can I get another motion, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. You know, I do understand where Mr. Khan is coming from, but I do believe that that there is characteristic in this neighborhood for these types of lot sizes, and I think that the agent went through great length and detail in sort of explaining that to talk about the character of the neighborhood. And I found the explanations provided for each of the debutantes' concerns also to be acceptable in my view. So with that in mind, I do believe for me, this meets the 4 tests, and I will put forward a motion to approve this application, and I'll make it subject to the changes made here by the applicant today, such that variance number 7 is eliminated, and that's my motion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion. Mr. Kidd seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Khan and Mr. Hunt dissenting. I will support Ms. Sankar's motion, so that motion carries. Sir, your revised application has been approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Item number 33, 150 Churchill Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That is Parissa Amiri. Are you there?
Yes.
Yes, can I get your full name and address, please?
Hi, this is Parissa Amiri. I'm the architect on the file, and I'm representing the application.
Okay, thank you, madam. I'm going through your file. I note that we have no comments or recommended conditions from staff. You have 4 variances before us. Pretty clear what you're asking for. Just to ask, is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material that we have before us this afternoon?
No, this is all we are asking. And one thing that I want to mention is if the lot frontage was only 19
Madam, can you speak
centimeter
up, please?
shorter. Yeah, sure. I just want to add that if the lot frontage was only 19 centimeters shorter than whatever it is, we wouldn't have the side setback variance, which is item number 2 and 3. And the reason that we have it, it's because of like it's 19 centimeters more than the bylaw. That's it. And I'm leaving it up to you if you need me to present the file, or do you have any question? I'm happy to answer.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Given that there have been no department comments or concerns expressed, and the variances, to my mind, are minor, I would move approval of this without condition.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hunt. Someone to second Mr. Hunt's motion. Mr. Khan seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Madam, your application has been unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a break for a couple of minutes. Thank you. up. Ladies and gentlemen, committee's back in session. Thank you very much. We're now on item number 34, 240 Betty Ann Drive. I have one person registered to speak. That is the agent, Nafisa Zengiabadi. Are you there?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, hello, madam. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Nafisa Zangiabadi, 30 Apple Orchard Path, Thornhill, L3T3B6.
Okay, thank you, madam. Just going through your file, I note we have a couple of staff reports here. There's recommended conditions from Urban Forestry. There's a report from City Planning dated the 15th of September. It recommends modifying variance number 4 for the proposed lot coverage from 32.52% to 32%. And if that modification isn't made, then we should refuse variance number 4. Should committee approve the revised application, staff recommends that the proposal is constructed substantially in accordance with the east and west elevation drawings submitted to the committee, included as attachments 1 and 2 to this report. I just wanted to ask, madam, were you going to modify variance number 4 as recommended by City Planning?
Yes, we are.
Okay, so you're reducing the lot coverage from 32.52% to 32%.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Just to make sure, are there any other changes you're proposing to your application?
And no, nothing. And we're
Okay.
okay with the planning recommendation for tying the decision to elevations.
Okay, thank you, madam. Pretty clear what you're asking for in the variances we have before us. I'll just ask, is there anything you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
No, not really.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this revised application? Please note that variance number 4, the proposed lot coverage is 32.52% of the lot area has been changed to the proposed lot coverage is 32% of the lot area. So if I could get a motion on this revised application. Mr. Kidd?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think the proposal meets the intents of the purpose of the zoning bylaws. I'd like to put forward a motion to accept the application as revised, variance 4 to read the proposed lot coverage change from 32.52% to 32% of the lot area. And subject to the conditions set out in the planning staff report dated September 15, that the proposal will be constructed substantially in accordance with the east and west elevation drawings submitted to the Committee of Adjustment and included as attachments 1 and 2 to this report, and also subject to forestry condition as well.
Thank you, Mr. Kidd. Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Madam, your revised application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry and city planning conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Item number 35, 865 York Mills Road. I have one person registered to speak. That is a Tan Nguyen. Are you there?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm here.
Yes, sir. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Sure. My name is Tan Nguyen. I'm a land use planner employed by the applicant. Address is 1 Steelcase Road West, Unit 8 in Markham.
Okay, thank you, sir. I just went through your file. I note that we have no staff comments or recommended conditions associated with your application. You have one variance before us. It's pretty clear what you're asking for. I'll just ask, is there anything that you'd like to tell the committee that isn't contained in the material we have before us this afternoon?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, and members of the committee. In addition to the merits outlined in our submission materials, I would just like to reiterate that the variance sought does not propose any physical alterations to the existing commercial building. I would also like to advise the committee that we've had discussions with community and policy planning at the city, as well as the office of the local councillor, and it's our understanding that there are no objections to our variance.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Mr. Khan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Nugent, my question is, what kind of retail store you have?
Oh, we've only had preliminary conversations with existing tenants and potential tenants, so nothing has been committed to in terms of retail. We're asking for the variance for the flexibility to accommodate some of the challenges faced by our existing tenants.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? I'm sorry, Mr. Khan, did you have another question?
Sir, my second question is, thank you for giving me the chance. Would unknown occupancy would increase the parking at all?
To answer the question, retail use requires less parking than the current restaurant uses that we're looking to potentially replace in the parking standards outlined in the bylaw.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Does the committee have any further questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this application, please? Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Based on the clarifications from the applicant and that there are no department comments or concerns with respect to the application, I would move approval of this application.
Okay, thank you, sir. Someone to second Mr. Hunt's motion? Ms. Sankar seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Oh, no. All those, I'm saying, Mr. Khan, you're in favor? Okay, thank you. That motion carries unanimously. So your application is unanimously approved without condition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're now on item number 37. Item number 36 was deferred. That's 261 Calvington Drive. We're on item number 37, which is 231 Burnett Avenue. I have one person registered to speak. That's Alva Roy. Are you there?
Yes, hello, how are you?
Yes, hello. Can I get your full name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Alva Roy from Alva Roy Architects, 12 Georgia Street, Sharon, Ontario. So,
okay, thank you. Sir, I noticed there's a couple of reports on file here with your application. We have recommended condition from Urban Forestry. There's a report from City Planning dated the 15th of September, which recommends modifying variance number 1 for the proposed lot coverage from 36.39% to 31.96%. Modify variance number 3 for the proposed side exterior main wall height from 8.8 meters to 8.5. And variance number 4 for the proposed maximum building height for a flat roof under bylaw number 7625 from 9.95 meters to 9.65 meters. You're indicating that the applicant's proposed changes to variances number 3 and 4 are not acceptable to planning and should be refused. Now, in view of planning's comments, sir, would you like to defer your application to discuss that with them further, or do you want to proceed with the application today?
we would love to proceed with the application.
Okay, well, thank you, sir. Just wanted to let, there's also a letter from Councillor Filion dated the 23rd of September, and it supports planning's recommendation. So if you would like to give the committee a presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal. And before you start, though, are you proposing to make any changes to your application?
Yes, we made the changes to our application. First of all, we
sir, if you could go through your variances and just identify what those changes are.
So changes number 1 from variance number 1, we changed it from 36.39% to 31.96%
30,
based on
okay,
staff
hang on just a
report.
second. So variance number 1, proposed lot coverage is being reduced from 36.39% to 31.96%.
Correct.
Okay,
So we reduced significantly based on the staff recommendation, which by the, in that area, it's still 34% still approved, but we keep to that number. But for the number number 3 and number 4 for the sidewall, we reduced from 8.8 to 8.5.
okay, hang on just a second.
But I just want
Sir,
to,
back up a sec.
Yeah.
Variance number 1, we've got that revision. Variance number 3, what are you proposing to change? What are you proposing to change there? You have the proposed height of the side exterior main walls facing side lot line is 8.80 meters. What are you proposing to change that to?
we proposed for sidewall from 8.8 to 8.34, but now we're gonna propose from 8.8 to 8.4.
Okay, so
Still,
hang
we
on.
want to reduce the 4.
So it's going from 8.80 meters to 8.40.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any other
And I
change?
explained to you.
Are there any other changes?
Yeah, and the total height from 9.95 reduced to 9.55.
Okay, hang on. So under variance number 4, this is bylaw number 7625, which I think is the old North York bylaw. The proposed building
Yes.
height's 9.95, and you're taking it down to
55.
9.50.
Yes,
Okay,
55.
thank you. Okay, so variance number 1, the proposed lot coverage is being reduced to 31.96 square meters. Variance number 3, the side exterior main wall facing a side lot line will become 8.40 meters. And
Correct.
variance number 4, the proposed building height will become 9.50 meters. Is that correct?
That's correct, completely.
Okay, so if you could give the committee a presentation on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
Yes, definitely. Now these days, you know, in the North York, when you're driving, all home in North York, there are the 2-story on top of the garage. It means everyone has a 3-story, but it's considered as a 2-story. But based on that definition of the bylaw, if we keep, if you take a look in our drawing number A5, yes, that one. So you see that we have a small slope roof on the top that we consider as a slope roof in the new Toronto bylaw, but still not considered in the old Toronto North York zoning bylaw. But that slope roof, if we keep going, we extend the edge of the roof, slope roof, all the way to the edge of the exterior wall, and we extend it a little bit as if 1 feet or 0.30 centimeter actually over as a soffit over the exterior main wall. So we can eliminate easily the variance number 5, variance number 3 and variance number 4. But we keep that slope roof a little bit smaller because of the is more light, sunlight coming, is more skyline we can see, and still we have a slope roof, and that one is protect the neighbor from the all water coming to their property. We keep all water in our property because we want to manage our water because of that the pool that the owner wants in the future have in the backyard. Specifically, we done that for that. So we want to keep all water for the pool and using that as a sustainable design. So in the other thing, we make reduce to the site plan. If you take a look in our site plan drawing A00, yeah, we reduce, actually increase our setback from 1.2 to 2.4 on the south side. So the area is very close to the neighbor at that time, at that part, and we increase that our setback in order to have a less shadow effect based on the zoning, based on the staff report on the neighbor property. So because we went through to make a smaller lot coverage, we had to make a narrower building, and now result is 2.4 instead of 1.2 for the setback on the side side. So we have very good light coming in. And the other thing that I want to explain to you, if we keep all ceiling height from the parking and main floor and second floor, all of the 8 feet, we end up with 8.4. If you want to shrink it and make it reduce that wall, so we are less than 8 feet, which is normally you will see in the all new home, as normally there are more than 8 feet ceiling height. But we have 8 feet ceiling height with 8.4 meter. So I would appreciate if you give us a favor and accept this proposal as a reducing from 8.8 to 8.4, and as an explanation about this, the slope roof at the top with the bring more light, bring more skyline to the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, could I get a motion on this revised application, please? Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I accept the explanations provided by the agent here today. And with the revisions that have been made, I think the application looks pretty good. And so I'll put forward a motion to approve this application. Do you need me to go through the
No, Ms.
changes
Sankar, I
once
think we've
more?
done that.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, can I just verify what variance 4 was changed to?
I thought I heard 9.55
That
meters,
was,
but
yeah, he's.
I've heard two numbers, 9.55 and 9.50. So I just need it from my end, clarify.
Variance number 4, the way it was described was it's being reduced from 9.95 meters to 9.50 meters.
That's not what I heard initially. Can I just have the applicant confirm, please, before Ms. Sankar finishes her motion?
Is
Okay, hang on.
9.95 meter, 40 centimeter down to 9.55 meter.
Sir, can you repeat that? What is the number? 9.50 or 9.51?
9.50.
Yeah.
Sorry, 9.55. Sorry.
Pardon me? What? 9.50 or what is it?
9.55.
Okay, so it's not 9.50, it's 9.55.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
So it's being
and
reduced from,
I'll also,
Ms. Sankar, it's, number 4 is from 9.95 meters to 9.55 meters. Thank you.
yes, that's what I had originally recorded. Of course, again, number 1 is 31.96%, and number 3, variance number 3 is 8.4 meters, just to be clear. And I'll make that subject to forestry, and that's my motion.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion. Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? That motion carries unanimously. Sir, your revised application has been unanimously approved, subject to urban forestry conditions.
Thank you very much. Very appreciated.
Thank you. Item number 38, which is 61 Westminster. I have 2 people registered to speak. The agent is John Zing. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, members, the agent is not present on the call. With that being said, they did not properly register for the meeting in advance. I'd also like to bring to your attention that the area resident that's listed on our sheet is not on the call as well.
Okay, so we have no one here.
That is
Mr. Wills,
correct.
should I stand this down?
Yeah, we can stand it down and come back to it.
Okay, all right, I'll stand it down. We'll go to item number 39, 363 Bedford Park Avenue. I have 4 people registered to speak. The agent is Navid Arbabi. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Can I get your full name and address, please?
Hi, my name is Navid Arbabi. My full address is 2017 Avenue Road, North York.
Okay, thank you. Sir, I noticed there's a couple of reports on file with your application. One recommended condition from Urban Forestry. There's a planning report dated the 15th of September, which recommends modifying variance number 2 with respect to the lot coverage to no more than 35% from 37.17%. As staff is also recommending that we refuse variance number 3 with respect to the proposed front yard setback and variance number 5 with respect to the proposed side exterior wall height. What I wanted to ask you, sir, is that if we refuse variance number 3 and 5, it sounds that would effectively scuttle your proposal. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. But we have received.
Just a moment,
yeah,
sir.
go on.
Just a moment. Would you like to defer this application to discuss it further, your application further with planning, or would you like to proceed today?
No, we would like to proceed.
Okay. Just going to ask then, are you proposing to modify variance number 2?
Yes.
So you're proposing to modify variance number 2, which currently reads the proposed lot coverage is 37.17% of the lot area, and you're proposing to change it so that the proposed lot coverage is 35% of the lot area. Is that correct?
No, we are actually proposing 36.63%.
Okay, so you're going from 37.17% to 36.
63%.
Okay, 36.63%. Okay, thank you. If you could make a presentation to the committee then, sir, on what you see as the merits of your proposal.
We are also making change to variance number 1.
Okay, what are you proposing to do to variance number 1?
So we are increasing the side yard setback on the east side from 0.91 meters to 1.05 meters.
Okay, so that's variance number 1, where the east side yard setback was originally 0.91 meters, and you're increasing that to 1.05 meters.
Correct.
Are there any other changes?
No.
Okay, thank you. If you'd like to proceed with your presentation.
Okay, so this project, as you guys already are aware, it's located very close to Avenue Road, which is just a few houses down from a very large development that's happening at the intersection. The owners of this property have been going back and forth with the next door neighbors at 361 and 365 Bedford Park, and they've been able to reach a solution to everything. They originally had some very big concerns, but today, this morning, they were able to reach an agreement, and they're in full support of the application. Given that I actually sent a letter to Adam this morning. I'm not sure if he has access to it, but they are in support, given that there are the changes that we just discussed with the increased side yard setback and the lowered coverage is agreed upon by all parties, and yes, that's the letter, correct. And there is actually a set of drawings that we revised based on the new proposed side yard setback and the new proposed lot coverage. Now, the side yard setback, which is on the east side, is actually to accommodate this. You know, it's very common for these property of these sizes. And the next door neighbor has absolutely no problems. They are actually okay with the proposed 1.05 meter setback. The lot coverage, I know staff report is suggesting that it would be 35, but there are multiple precedents within a very, very close. I'm not even talking about 150 meter radius. I'm talking about houses that are 4 or 5 doors down from this address that have coverages approved close to 41%, 39%, exactly the same lot size. And they are very much new applications that have been approved. And I've already submitted the chart. It's number 381, 389 Bedford Park. There are precedents at 418 Bedford Park for 39.6%. And these are all the ones that are even above what we are asking now. Having said that, this house does not go over the 17-meter length. It's actually below it. We have no bay windows. We have no one-story extensions. And we are also proposing a front yard setback at 5.5 meters instead of the 6.4. This is actually one of the items that the next door neighbors had requested that we do. So we are doing this so that the house is pushed more forward so everybody gets more of a backyard. We have measured this on site. The change is very insignificant, and both neighbors are actually in support of the application if we can shift the house forward. So they're so persistent that we do get this front yard setback that they wanted us to pretty much ask that you tie the decision to the site plan, and we actually have to meet the 5.5 meter front yard setback. So both neighbors on the side have requested this because they feel that it suits, and we did the measurements on site. It actually works perfectly. We still have the landscaping. We are not below the landscaping requirement. We have space for parking. We can park 2 cars back to back, similar to every other house. So the change is very, very reasonable. In regards to the main building height, if you go to the elevation, front elevation on the same drawings, we're showing the exact outline of the site properties, and you can see that we are very in line with the next door neighbor on actually 361. So we are only requesting a very, very minor increase from the 10 meter to 10.3 meters, where it's most of that. Sorry, Adam, can you go to elevation, please? So the majority of the 0.3 increase that we are asking is actually on the flatter part of the roof, where it's going to accommodate proper and adequate drainage, which is not visible from the street. So as you can see, the top of the roof line is actually well above where the angle of the roof ends. And we also are requesting a sidewall height variance. Now, this sidewall height variance is due to the fact that this house has no eaves sticking down. So if you actually look at the line, and if you continue the slope that's proposed on the roof and continue it down, whereas the traditional roof style would be with eaves, you would end up much closer to the 7.5 meter requirement. But in this case,
Sir, can you summarize, please?
Yes, we're just cutting the roof at the very top of the main walls. So the other thing I would like to ask is that there's a tree at the back of the property on the west side, and the next door neighbor is asking us to tie the decision to the site plan proposed for that reason. Thank you.
We'll go to our, any questions of the speaker? We'll go to our next speaker. I have either Fiamma Gazem
I am here. Yeah.
Yes, hello. Can I
My
get
name
your full, I'm sorry, I probably mispronounced that. Could I get your full name and address, please?
My name is Hirad Tajbakhsh. I am husband to Fiamma Qasemzadeh Kermanshahi. We are living at 361 Bedford Park Avenue, Toronto, Ontario.
Sir, if you'd like to give us your thoughts on this application.
Sure. We are the owners of 361 Bedford Park Avenue, the property immediately to the east of 363 Bedford Park, which is the proposed dwelling to be built. We have been going through the website, and I can see that only the ones which were uploaded before September 16 are in the site, and we cannot see the plans uploaded on August 24 and September 21st and September 23rd, which is today. There are revisions to the east side setback, which is confirmed by the agent, and we understand that these latest plans are not in front of you. So I do not know if I talk about the revised plans, or shall I go on and continue about the plans which is in front of you?
Okay, thank you, sir. Does
No,
the,
I mean, I am not finished. I am asking the question that which one I should continue. Shall I continue based on the plans which is in front of you, or based on those revised plans set by the agent?
well, you can proceed based on the revisions that he's proposed today.
Okay, based on those revisions, the side setback of 1.05 is accepted to me, because we have got 3 main windows over there in the east side of the proposed property, and the setback will cause more sense of light to our dining rooms and our breakfast area. There are 3 main windows and 1 window for the basement, and it will give lights and access to our side of the house, and it is the right of access to my equipments and my pools. Plants are there, the heaters is there, and my air conditioning is there. So the right of access to that site is very important to me. I have got a very large pool in my backyard, which I don't want the wall to be nearer to me than 1.05. Regarding the percentage of the house at 37.17, which is decreased to 36.63, is okay with us, and we need all these plans to be attached to your decision because they have substantial revisions and wording related to the backyard tree. Regarding the lot coverage, I talked. Regarding the height, we are okay with the revised plan, which they have talked about it. As for the trees, there is a main tree at the end of their backyard, which we don't want that to be cut, and that is also signed between the agreement which we have been talking to the owner of this property. The agreement is signed today and is not uploaded yet. I hope your decision will have access to these plans, and you will attach it based on the substantial revisions being made there. I do not have anything as long as the revised plans are the ones which are under consideration, because the main issue is moving the house forward. That is the main issue, which because of that reason we supported the rest of the plans being revised. My neighbor in 359 also have got the same forward setback, and this corresponds to 361, 363, and 365, and we have been supporting that as well. So I'm grateful to your decisions, and thank you so much for hearing.
Thank you, sir. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Okay, thank you. I'll move to the next person on the list. I have an Alla Levitt or Kenneth Beeler. Alla Levitt or Kenneth. We can't hear you. You have to turn off. You have a number of electronic devices speaking at the same time. Just turn them all off and speak through your phone.
Mr. Chair, we'll try this one here instead. Go ahead, Alla.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. I am very happy to hear that the latest plans that were submitted today, the September 23rd plans, you actually have access to, and that you can base your review based on those. Can I just confirm that so that we're all on the same page, that it is the September 23rd plans that you have access to and you can be looking at? Because those have major revisions from the previous plans that were uploaded to the system. I understand the September 23rd plans that were just emailed today have not yet been uploaded on the system. So I just want to make sure we're talking about the same. Yeah, those plans. That's right. They mark the tree. Okay, so that's great. So we were opposing the previous plans, but we are in agreement with these plans, the September and 23rd plans. And we have worked very hard with the applicant to come up with something that pleases everybody. The front setback, we are definitely in agreement with. That helps us because it's our backyard then that is relieved, and we don't particularly, the front, the house being pushed forward doesn't really change much in terms of the appearance of the street. It doesn't affect us at all, but it really helps us with the backyard. What we also, we support that they have changed the east side setback. So that was setback number 1. It was 0.91 meters. They've changed it to 1.05 meters. And that doesn't affect us as much, but it sets a nice precedent for the street that people, houses aren't going to be all on top of each other. And we're okay with the new coverage. It was, 37.17%. It's now going to be 36.63%. I know the staff have recommended 35%, but given it's not as big a difference, so that's okay. And then the building heights, we weren't thrilled about, but given all the other concessions that were made, we're okay with those. And so what is very important to us is that if the committee does approve these plans, that these plans are attached to their decision, because they demark on one of the pages, not the one that's up on the screen right now, but another one, where there's a mature tree and it's marked in orange on, yeah, there we go. And there is wording in there that says the evergreen tree marked orange on the southwest corner will not be removed or damaged as a condition of the Committee of Adjustment approval. The pool and any other accessory structures and decking will be relocated to ensure that this evergreen tree does not require removal and is not damaged in any way. This is like, I don't know, maybe 50 to 100-year-old tree. It is irreplaceable. It is probably the reason we bought our house 28 years ago when we moved into this area. So as you can see right now where the pool is drawn, it's not possible. So they've agreed to move the pool, and having this these plans attached to your decision so that the wording is there is crucial to our agreement to these plans. And I think that covers everything.
Okay.
We're totally in agreement with these plans the way they are, as long as the September 23rd plans are attached. And I guess as long as the committee says that it's, to be built in accordance with the September 23rd plans, that would be wonderful.
Okay, thank you, madam. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? There being none, we'll go to our last speaker on the list. I have a Chime Bell, B-E-L-L. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, members, they are not on the call at this time.
Okay, thank you. I'll take them off the list. We'll go back to Mr. Arbabi. Are you there, sir?
Yeah.
Yes, you've heard the comments from the previous speakers. If you'd like to respond.
Yeah, so thank you for your support. Both neighbors have been cooperating with us really well, but they've worked really, really, really hard together. The owner of 363, 361, and 365 have been going back and forth for many months now, and I'm so happy that they cooperated with us and we are able to accommodate their requests. And as you already know, most of the variances are related to the next door properties directly, and they are very happy about the proposal as is with the reductions. And again, we thank them for helping us in the process. I would like to add that we would like to, if possible, tie the decision to the proposed site plan with the tree, because yes, this is a beautiful tree, and we would like to maintain it. The owner has written an agreement and sent
Sir,
it to the
if I could ask that
65 as well.
those, you want them tied to the plans, what are the dates on those plans, on the plans you want?
So the September 23rd that I sent to Adam today.
Okay, so they're
Mr.
they're the
Chair,
plans
Mr.
dated the
Chair.
23rd of September 2021, is that correct?
Correct.
Mr. Chair, it's Simon. Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Hi, it's Simon. I just want to make sure that that plan doesn't contain basically or figure into or constitute a private agreement between the homeowner, I mean the builder, and the neighbor. If you're tying something to a plan, it has to be a planning reason. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I hear you.
That note looks like a note of an agreement between the builder and the neighbor. If you're effectively tying it and creating a private agreement, you're endorsing it, and somebody has to check it off at the building permit stage. Historically, we do not tie building plans that contain any sort of private agreement between neighbors and builders.
Okay, thank you, sir. So what we have is the ruling that we basically don't have the authority to put that type of condition onto the committee's decision. It's a private function between two parties, which has been stated in the public record. So it's
Correct.
basically something that can be used, that can be employed in any legal proceedings. But unfortunately, the committee has no authority to put that type of a condition between two private parties. So unfortunately, we cannot do that.
Okay, so if there's anything we can tie the decision, because we do have a forestry report that just asks that we do make the application to forestry as well. So we can just have the forestry condition. And I understand that it's a private tree, so the private agreement will be between the homeowners of 363 and 365.
Okay, we won't be making any mention of a private agreement between the two owners. That's an agreement between you and the adjacent property owners. All we would be placing on there are the conditions from city staff. Understood?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Does the committee have any questions of the speaker? Okay, please note that we have the following revisions to this application, just to make sure we've got them clear. Variance number 1, the east side yard setback has been increased from 0.91 meters to 1.05 meters. Variance number 2, the proposed lot coverage has been decreased from 37.17% to 36.63%. So if I could get a motion on this revised application, please. Ms. Sankar?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think through you, I believe that the applicant has worked very well with the neighbors to alleviate their concerns. And based on the changes that he made here today, I think that suffices with the neighbors to be supportive of it. And I'm looking at this application. I do believe with the revisions, it seems to be okay to me. So I'm going to motion to approve this application with the changes that that the applicant made here today, that you've already stated, Mr. Chair. I'll make it subject to forestry. That would be my motion. And if the the owners, the debutantes want to make any type of private agreement on the side that they can sign off together, that's between them. But I can make this application subject to forestry. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second Ms. Sankar's motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Khan dissenting. Sir, your application has been approved subject to urban forestry. Your revised application has been approved subject to urban forestry conditions. Thank you very much. Go back to item.
Thank
number-
you.
Thank you. Item number 38, which is 61 York Minster Road. We have the agent, John Zeng. Are you there?
Mr. Chair, members, John is still not present on the call. And with that being said, I have also reached out to another email I had access to for a fellow by the name of Luke. Luke is also not on the call. I'd also like to bring to your attention that the property owner, the area resident, is also not on the call.
Is not there?
Correct.
How do we
Mr.
deal
Chair,
with
it's
this?
Simon. Mr. Chair?
Simon, how should
I
we
can
deal
make a
with this
motion.
application?
You can go ahead and review the application and render a decision.
Okay, thank you. That's what I thought you'd say. We have 61 York Minster Road. We have, just let me go through here what we have. The only comment we have on 61 York Minster Road is a recommended condition from Urban Forestry. This is the application for a circular driveway. We have no one, we don't have an applicant here, and we don't have anyone in interest. So if I could get a motion, Ms. Sankar?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, I've reviewed the application, and I do believe that with the two variances, to me, I think it's minor in nature, and it does meet the 4 tests. In the absence of a staff report or anyone here to go, talk to the application, I've got the city condition of urban forestry on hand, and there is a support letter on file. So for that reason, I'll put forward a motion to approve the application subject to forestry.
Thank you, Ms. Sankar. Someone to second that motion? Mr. Hunt seconds. All those in favor? Opposed? Mr. Khan dissenting. That motion carries, and the 61 York Minster Road is approved subject to urban forestry conditions. Thank you very much. If I could get a motion to terminate. Thank you, Mr. Hunt. We're done, and I'll second that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your support. It's been a long day. Thank you very much.